Konnichiwa everyone, I'm Sword 57 and welcome back to a different kind of video. Now, there's a reason why this video is up on the Sword 57 Purasu channel. And the reason for that is because this is more of a faster, a little bit quick of a video to explain the Sword 57 timeline. You see, a lot of Swordlings have been really interested in the timeline, and they would like a proper explanation of what's going on in the current state of it. So, I will be showing some clips from the videos to show a pivotal moment in the Sword 57 show, and those that are important to the story arc timeline of the Sword 57 show. So, first off, there are some stuff that's going on here that has not been explained, and there's also some stuff that are not included on the timeline because it would be spoilers for future videos. So, if you're watching this from the future and you notice there's stuff that's not on the timeline, that is why. For example, let's take a look here. So, as you see, this is Seph-sama meets Shadow and Chrono. This hasn't happened yet in the Sword 57 show, but it happens in the timeline before the Final Fantasy VII Remake video. So, in the future, you can look forward to Seph-sama meeting Shadow and Cloud at some point. But, if we move on, there's not much else that I can add to that. If we move on, we get to the Final Fantasy VII Remake video. The best game ever made, by the way. You should go and play it. But anyway, so what happens in this video for the story timeline is obviously Seph-sama meets Cloud for the first time and they bond over Final Fantasy VII Remake. Yes, that's right. And also, Seph-sama also meets Cloud. I mean, Link for the first time. Okay. These are both characters that show up. Obviously, Cloud shows up. You all know. You Swordlings all know about Cloud. But Link actually shows up in a later video down the line. Some of you might not even know that. Those of you who are Swordlings who are new and haven't even watched the old videos, which you should do, by the way. Anyway, let's watch some clips from this video. So this here is the moment when Sword 57 meets Cloud. Let's give it a watch.
Whoa.
Who's there? Show yourself. Wait, you are Cloud Strife from Final Fantasy VII.
That is indeed me.
It's a pleasure to finally meet you, Cloud. I'm Sword 57.
It's a pleasure to meet you, Sword 57. I felt the presence of a very talented objective reviewer nearby, so I had to check it out, and it led me to you.
Oh, then you've definitely come to the right place. And what great timing! I'm just about to play your game, Final Fantasy VII Remake. Care to join me, Cloud?
Right on.
Okay, so that is the part where, as you noticed, that's the first time they meet in the Sword 57 show. So that's the first thing that happens. Let's get to the next clip. Okay, so here is the part where Link shows up. Let's give it a watch.
What am I supposed to play now that I played the best game of all times to come? I'm too excited for part 2 that I don't want to play anything else. Well, I can help you out with that.
Who's there? Show yourself.
Hello there, I'm Link from the Legend of Zelda series. I heard you were looking for a great game to play. I have one right here, and it's even better than Final Fantasy VII. It's called The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. Huh?
Wow, look at this baka cloud.
Yeah, what an idiot. Huh?
Let's show this little nerd what a real video game character is capable of.
Yeah, let's go. Wait! Ouch! No! Stop!
Cloud, throw the destruct materia on him.
Huh? But why?
Come on, it would be funny.
I won't forget it.
Yes, so that was the end of that video. Very funny moment when Link got what he deserves. That is it from this video. Those are the important story points. Let's get back to the timeline. So, now that we talked about the first video in the timeline, canonically, let's go to the next video. And you might notice, there isn't any other videos, beside the next one, which is a very important one for the Sephiroth Sword 57 universe, which you will see. But there will be videos here, and of course up here as well. But that would be for the future, so we'll look forward to that. Anyway, here we have the Creepypasta of Final Fantasy X. This is the first Halloween special, and it's a good one. Now, there isn't much I can say about this other than it's a very entertaining and fun video. It's a very spooky video, so for those of you who are a little bit easily scared, you shouldn't watch the video, but I would recommend it. Now, what happens in this video is that the game Final Fantasy X, he has a cursed copy of Final Fantasy X that shows a Tidus Sharingan head at the end of it, and by seeing that, Seph-sama has a 50% chance of being cursed or not being cursed by the Tidus head. So let's go and take a look at that. Okay, my Swordlings. So here is the clip from the moment when you get to see the Sharingan Tidus head. So let's give it a watch.
That's when I saw he was running around with no head. I couldn't enter any fights, and the music just kept getting louder and louder. And then the game crashed on me. When I started it up again, Tidus' decapitated head showed up on the screen, staring at me with bleeding Sharingan eyes.
And that is it for that video. It ends there. Now, you might think from watching this that this has nothing to do with the Sephiroth Sword 57 timeline. But it absolutely does, and it was planned from when I made this video. So, let's go back to the timeline. Okay, as you see, it says here, right here, that there's a 50% chance that Seph-sama will be cursed by the Tidus Sharingan head. And what does that create? Well, it creates a timeline split. This is an important part of the. Hold on, let me make sure you see everything. There we go. So as you can see, there is a timeline split, and well, before it, there is a little moment that happened. Nintendo gathers all the Dragon Balls. Now this is important for a future video that happens on the right side of the timeline. But for the left side, not so much. Not that we know of, at least. But what happens, we don't get to see this in a video or anything. So this one isn't, well, it isn't very important. There isn't very important to what happened in the videos, but it does explain how certain things happened. Now, let's move on to the left side of the timeline split, and you will see why I go with this one first. Here we have. He, as in Sephiroth Sword 57, got cursed by Tidus, the Sharingan Tidus head, and was attacked by Ghost Sakaguchi. So yes, with that we have to move on to the Halloween special vlog that was released later. So what happens in this video is that we get to follow the life of Sephiroth Sword 57. As he's, well, he get a hold of an item that no one should have. And with that, well, I'm not gonna spoil it for you Swordlings who want to see it, but at the end of it, he gets, well, you will see. Let's watch the clip.
My Swordlings, the ghost is chasing me.
The ghost.
The ghost is here. The ghost is here.
This is important. See what it says here on this page? It says all the games made by Hironobu Sakaguchi. Now, for those of you who are watched the video, you will know what is going on here and why there is a ghost Sakaguchi. And it is because of this. Anyway, let's watch the last few seconds of this.
It's the creator of Final Fantasy.
Oh, still sends chills down my spine. Anyway, that's all we know from Sephiroth Sword 57 in this timeline. Because let's move over. What happens after this timeline is that it ends. What happened to Sephiroth Sword 57? Did he die? Well, we don't know. But this is where it ends. This is the bad ending of the timeline. So, with that, let's go back up. So, the right side of the timeline. Let's talk about that. So, Sephiroth Sword 57 decided to play a Mario game. Now, don't accuse me of anything here from playing a Mario game. I only did this just to, because Mario Maker is a game where you make levels and stuff. And I thought I would show off some of my game design abilities that I have, just to show how it works. And with that, I decided to make a video. And what happens here is that by Sephiroth Sword 57 playing this game, it gave Nintendo enough power to put Seph-sama back to sleep. Now, what happens with that? Well, let's first watch this moment from the video. Alright, so here we are. Check this clip out. It's not very long, but it is a cliffhanger for the next episode. Let's check it out.
Thank you so much for watching. Have a good night, evening, morning, or day. Where am I? What is this? Is this a DualShock 4 PlayStation 4 controller?
I see you're awake, Sephiroth Sword 57.
Who's there? Who are you, mysterious masked man?
You're gonna do me a favor. You're gonna play the worst PlayStation 4 exclusive game in the universe.
What are you talking about? There are no bad PlayStation 4 exclusives. Wait. You can't mean...
And yes, as you can see, it continues on to the next video. So, there's not much I can, well, you already saw what happened, and this is the first instant where you get to see that Nintendo is powered up from Sephiroth Sword 57 reviewing bad games. Nintendo games, that is. But let's go back to the timeline. So, with that, we already know. I don't need to wait too long to show you. It's the Bloodborne. This is the Bloodborne video, and the end of what at the time was the season finale of season 1. Now, this is what happens in this episode. Seph-sama acts instinctively and unleashes his Bankai without knowing his true power. Yes, so right. The only time Seph gets to use his true power is when he has very strong, when he unleashes very strong emotions. He doesn't have any control over his power at this point in the story, and he doesn't for the majority of the Sephiroth Sword 57 timeline. It is something that would be shown in the future. And another thing is that Nintendo cursed the Dragon Balls, so Seph-sama would revive Evil Shadow. Now, here is, of course, the fight with the Nintendo is a very classic one that I know a lot of Swordlings like. So let's head over there and show the important moments of that fight. Okay, so here we have Sephiroth Sword 57 fighting Nintendo together with Shadow. But let's move a bit forward into. Here we see Chrono show up. This is the first time on the channel that we get to see Chrono, but he will be further up the timeline, like I said earlier, and he throws Seph-sama his Boken that he can use in the fight. But if you move forward, well, Chrono uses his Luminaire to fight off Dark Souls and Minecraft, And here, check this out.
Your healer. Enough of this. I'll kill your healer. No, don't. You killed Shadow, you bakemono. Ha 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 ha. Now it's only you left, Sephiroth Sword 57.
You made one huge mistake, Nintendo.
And what would that be, you puny human?
Well, you messed with the wrong human. Ban Kai.
What is this power? This can't be. No way!
Check this out, Cloud.
So, yes, this is the first time you see Cloud in any of the Sephiroth Sword 57 videos as well, even though this is not his first time on the timeline. Now, the reason is because some videos in the Sephiroth Sword 57 show comes out before, even though they are later on the timeline, they come out before some of the videos earlier on in the timeline. That is the reason why. But this is a great moment.
Super Omni Slash! 10 second slash!
I finally defeated him.
What's that over there?
I can't believe it.
And here they are.
Nintendo was carrying the Dragon Balls all along. I know what to do now.
Come to me, Shenlong! What is your wish, Sephiroth Sword 57? Is it wealth? Immortality? To become Japanese?
It sounds tempting, but there is one wish more important than those. I want to resurrect my best friend, Shadow.
A simple task. Your wish is granted.
And here it is.
Welcome back, buddy.
And that's what happens in this. Well, as you know, the Dragon Balls were cursed, and Sephiroth Sword 57 uses them to revive Shadow, which means that Shadow now is controlled by Nintendo. The curse he put on the Dragon Balls made it so that the thing they were used for would do something bad. So in this instant, he knew that Sephiroth Sword 57 would revive Shadow if chosen if he got a hold of the Dragon Balls. So back to the timeline. What happens after this is that Shadow starts working for Nintendo. And he starts ordering Seph-sama in his reviews. Now, this is something that I don't think a lot of Swordlings thought about when watching these videos. Because next up, we have the Sonic Adventure 2 review. This happens a little while after the Bloodborne one. And what happens is that Seph-sama almost gives up, so Evil Shadow has to encourage him to keep going so he can finish the review. Well, let's move on to the video. Okay, so in this part, we will see the moment where Shadow encourages Seph-sama to keep going and finish the review. Check it out.
this. The game is too powerful. Is this the end?
Don't give up, Sephiroth Sword 57.
Who's there?
It's me, Shadow the Hedgehog.
Shadow?
The Sephiroth Sword 57 I know wouldn't give up that easily. Embrace your strength from within and finish this.
I will.
And there you have it. Otherwise, why would he do this? Isn't that very interesting? Why would he go out of his way to make sure that he keeps playing the game? Now, of course, this is a game that Sephiroth Sword 57 and myself, Sephiroth Sword 57 loves. So, of course, it is great that we got to finish it. But anyway, that is all for this part. It's a very small part, but it's important to what's will be happening in the future. So back to the timeline. So, after the Sonic Adventure 2 review has been finished, the next one is the Shadow of the Colossus video. In this one, Seph-sama instinctively unleashes his power again. Evil Shadow sacrifices himself so that Seph-sama can finish the review, and made sure he had a Phoenix down on hand so he could be revived. Yes, so in this one, Shadow is killed by the game, and that makes Sephiroth Sword 57's power unleash again without him knowing. And well, there's more to it. There's a few clips in this that are important, so let's head over to the video. So here it is. Here's the moment where Shadow sacrifices himself.
Shadow of the Colossus is an extremely overrated game. The gameplay is...
Bad game?
Who was that? Is that coming from the PlayStation 3?
How dare you call me a bad game, Sephiroth Sword 57?
What do you want from me?
I've brainwashed so many gamers into thinking I'm awesome, but my powers didn't work on you. I won't let you release this video of truth onto YouTube. Now, die!
Why, Shadow?
I'll do anything for a friend. See you around, pal.
No!
What a weakling. Meet me outside and I'll show you what I'm really capable of.
Okay, so the next part coming up is Sephiroth Sword 57 unleashing his powers. So let's show that. This is a very cool moment.
Be defeated by a giant like me.
You know what, game? The bigger they are, the harder they fall. Kagebunshin no Jutsu!
What is this? How?
So great. And here we have Shadow getting revived.
Wait, I think I still have one left.
And there we go.
Thank you, my friend.
No worries, pal.
And that's the end of that video. as you saw, Seph-sama instinctively unleashes his abilities. He revived Shadow, and he was able to complete the review. Shadow did what he had to please his master, which is Nintendo at this point. So he finishes his task once again. Back to the timeline. What do we have next? Well, it is the Ocarina of Time review. Now, a lot of things doesn't really happen in this video. Other than Shadow starts acting strange. And that Seph-sama destroys his eardrums in his fight against Link. That's right. This is the part where Link shows up again. And yes, the way Seph reacts to Link suggests that this is not their first encounter. Yes, that is something that was in the timeline before the Final Fantasy VII Remake video was even out. So with this, we can tell that there's a few things happening. So let's get over to the video. Okay, so here's the part where we get to see Shadow act strange. Check this out.
What up, homie?
Oh, howdy, Shadow. I'm just about to review a Zelda game.
Don't be a fool, Sephiroth Sword 57. Everyone knows that's a shit game, yo.
I know, Shadow, but I'm going to make a review that is not based on nostalgia or fanboyism. Honest and objective.
Wow, just look at this amazing Nintendo 6.
Yes, so there is that's where we get to see him act very strange. Now, if we move on to the end of the video, there's something happening here.
Extremely overrated game. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. And I would...
Well, excuse me, Sephiroth Sword 57.
Link?
I'm gonna defeat you.
As you can see from his reaction, he recognizes Link immediately, and he wonders why he's over here. But we will see why.
I've defeated stronger foes than you, but I guess I can take this opportunity to try out my new Blitz move. Whoa!
You're a fool, Sephiroth Sword 57. No physical attacks can penetrate this energy shield. With the Song of Time, I'm gonna trap your brain in a time warp, making you stupid like a small child. Take this! Haha, Nintendo will be pleased now that Sephiroth Sword 57 is defeated. Looks like this is the final episode of Sephiroth Sword 57.
Here we go.
How is this possible? Your brain should be that of a fetus. You shouldn't be able to stand.
That was a very impressive jutsu, Link. But I also have some tricks up my sleeve.
You see, just as you started to play the Song of Time, I grabbed 2 pencils that I stored in my back pocket the whole time. The pencils I used to write this review. Just as the sound of your ocarina touched my eardrum, I immediately knew what to do. I had to destroy my eardrums in order to block your attack.
Unfortunately, I'm completely deaf now. But your attacks won't hurt me anymore.
Your attacks can't hurt me either, Sephiroth Sword 57.
That's where you're wrong.
Huh?
Are you familiar with Ludwig von Beethoven, Link?
He was a famous German composer during the late 1700s and lived through the early 1800s. He wrote some of the most famous and timeless musical pieces ever made. Many of his most admired works came from the last 15 years of his life.
And during those years, he was completely deaf. You've already proven that sound can penetrate your barrier, and I'm a pretty good musician myself. So have a taste of your own medicine.
So cool.
No, no.
And, well, there we have it. Those are the...
Yo, what was the sound just now?
Nothing, Shadow. Just another normal day for an
Yeah,
honest reviewer.
so he don't even acknowledge
By
that
the way,
Link was
Shadow,
there.
You've been acting very strange
So,
lately.
very good
What you
video.
talking about? Is it because I'm black?
And, well, that's it. Back to the timeline. So with this video, there are a few things that you might be wondering. Is Seph-sama deaf now? What is going on? Well, it's explained in the timeline. Seph-sama is deaf from this point. He now has enhanced eye coordination and reflexes. He can also read lips. That just explains what happens in this video and what is going on with him. And that leads into the Smash Brothers video. Even though he's deaf, Seph-sama is still able to finish the review with his new enhanced abilities. Nanami is Seph-sama's cousin who rings the doorbell. Yes, so this is... Well, Nanami isn't in this video, technically, but she is the one mentioned in the video. So let's get to the video. Now, first off, I would like to point out that Seph-sama, it was mentioned that Seph-sama has enhanced eye coordination and reflexes. Well, here's a thing that shows that off. So check it out.
No, not that one. This one. Here, catch, Sephiroth Sword 57.
So as you can see, he's able to quickly catch the game. It shows off his new abilities. And remember, he can read lips, so he could understand what Shadow was saying. And when he showed up. You can actually see that earlier when he shows up. If you go back here and you see Shadow talking. Check this out.
What's up, homeboy?
Ohayo, Shadow.
You can see how Seph-sama, Sephiroth Sword 57, is keeping an eye on Shadow's face so that he can understand what he's saying when he talks.
Did you hear that, my bro?
So that is why. That's also a good thing to point out. Now, let's get to the next part that I wanted to show, and it's the ending. So right here.
New school. 57.
Here we
Who
go.
could that be?
Oh, here we go.
Nintendo would be pleased.
Oh, that's right. This is also an important thing to point out. So at the end of the Ocarina of Time video, Link mentions that Nintendo will be pleased, but Seph-sama defeated Nintendo. So what is going on? Well, for those of you who have watched these videos as they were released, even though Seph-sama defeated Nintendo in the Bloodborne video, there's still some stuff going on here. So check this out.
What is it, Shadow?
Isn't anyone going to try to assassinate you today?
Yeah, I've been attacked quite a lot recently. It's like Nintendo is still around and kicking. Wait a second.
Nintendo will be pleased now that Sephiroth Sword 57 is defeated. Looks like this
It's
is the
hinted
final
at.
episode of Sephiroth Sword 57.
And here we go.
Who could that be?
Did you forget Sephiroth Sword 57? Your cousin is coming over to live with you because of her transfer to the new school.
Well, I guess you Swordlings will see her in the next episode. Until then, have a good night, evening, morning, or day. Mosh mosh! I'm coming!
So yes, that's what's going on. So that's Nanami at the end of the video there. And those were the things I wanted to show in this video that were important. And for the next one, that's a big one for the timeline. A very important one. So let's head back to the timeline. So, after this one, this is an interesting one. So, Nanami heals Seph-sama's injuries. Now, for those of you who don't know, Nanami has healing capabilities that hasn't been able to shown off in videos properly yet. She is a white mage, so that is why. And after healing his injuries, he needs to sleep for 24 hours. And during those 24 hours while he's asleep, Sephiroth Sword 57 is so strong that he can actually review games in his sleep. So that means the Undertale review took place within Seph-sama's 24-hour sleep and didn't happen in the real world. But he was able to make a review even while sleeping. That's how talented Sephiroth Sword 57 is. But anyway, there's nothing in the video that I can show that is important to the timeline, but it happens in the timeline technically. So for the next one, we have Pokémon GO, and oops, I almost showed what happens after that. So, Evil Shadow reveals that he's working for Nintendo, and that Nintendo is close to be resurrected. So, yes, this is there's some stuff happening in this Pokemon Go video. But there's actually few small things that I want to show in the beginning of the video. So let's head over there. Now, this part here actually introduces Nanami, and I wanted to show this off because it's really funny.
Oni-chan, shoshuku wa yonbi wa dekimasu.
Just one more minute.
Oni-chan. あなたが目をますますする必要があります。
All right. Wow, this looks absolutely delicious, Katin-san. Itadakimasu.
I should probably notice, Seph-sama doesn't call her by Nanami yet, because it hasn't been established in the story that that's her name. Anyway.
泡がいかがですか?
It's the best ramen I've ever had, Katin-san.
やったー、私はとても幸せだ。
It tastes terrible. Yes. So that's what happens here. And here's an interesting thing. Now it actually starts becoming very obvious that Shadow is making Sephiroth Sword 57 play Nintendo games. Take a look at this.
Yo, what's up? There's supposed to be a Snorlax here.
Did you say earwax?
I've been fooling around with this new Pokemon game. It's a great game, yo.
I'm so tired of all these Pokemon games. I think it's time for a new video.
And as you can tell, because of that, Seph-sama felt the need to make a new video. He kept showing Sephiroth Sword 57 this Pokemon GO game so that he would review it, and well, he succeeded. And if we move on to after the review, let's check this out. This is the betrayal part. This is a very big twist in the Sephiroth Sword 57 universe.
This information to improve upon the school system. Persona 3 FPS gets a Go Shuriken out of Go Shuriken.
I think that's enough.
What?
You have finally reviewed enough Nintendo games for Nintendo to be resurrected.
There we go.
What? What are you saying, Shadow? My one true friend.
Don't you get it, pal? When you resurrected me with the Dragon Balls, you never checked to see if there was something strange about them. Right before Nintendo died, he put a curse on the Dragon Balls because he knew you would use the Dragon Balls to summon Shenlong to resurrect me again. I'm now brainwashed by Nintendo, and I'm his loyal servant. To resurrect Nintendo, he needed someone powerful enough to review his games. Do you understand now, Sephiroth Sword 57? Why I made you review so many Nintendo games this season? Yes, I've been playing you like a Japanese shamisen.
No, it can't be. Why?
I will now go to my master. Don't try to follow me.
No, Shadow, stop!
And after that, they get to fight. But what happens is, well, it's not a very good thing. So, check this out.
Yes! I won! Now, Shadow, Shadow? 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 Where are you? Shadow! Shadow! Where are you?
So yes, Seph-sama might have won the battle, but at what cost? Shadow is gone, and let's get back to the timeline. With that starts the 5-year search for Shadow. That's right, Shadow is gone, and for 5 years, Sephiroth Sword 57 and his close friends has to search for Shadow, and they were not able to find him for 5 years. But during those 5 years, stuff happened. For example, Noctis joins the search. Now, as you all know, the Final Fantasy 15 review features Noctis as the co-reviewer. Now, we haven't seen a lot of Noctis since this video, but that is because he doesn't really, well, he doesn't, this is the first time he joins. So, out of the videos that are on the beginning of the timeline, he can't show up because they don't know each other yet. Not until this video. And in this video, there isn't anything relevant to the plot other than Noctis decides to join the search. So there's nothing for me to show there specifically. But if we move on to the next one, we'll see this is the video where Logan Paul went to Japan. I think you all remember this disgusting, filthy baka westerner doing this part and what he did. We all know, and you should watch that video to get a more deeper understanding of what he did was wrong. Not many people actually describe in detail of why the stuff he did was so bad. This video I recommend because it's a very important one, especially for Westerners who are going to travel to Japan so they don't do the same things. Okay? Anyway, next up on the timeline is the Doom review with Seph-Daddy57. Now, Seph-Daddy57 showed up in non-canon videos earlier on the channel, but this is the first time he shows up in a review. And the first one in the official timeline where he shows up. But you can tell from Sephiroth Sword 57's reaction in this video that he already knows Seph-Daddy57. Now, we should head over to the video, because what happens is that Seph-Daddy57 is defeated by Seph-sama. So let's head over there. Okay, so this video is actually good to start from the beginning. So let's start.
Hey, huh? Yo, bitch, where you at, yo? Hey, over here. Oh, yo, is that you, Sephiroth Sword 57? Long time no see, Seph-Daddy57. What are you even doing?
Okay, so you can tell from their encounter here that they've already met, and well, you can see that there is a rivalry going on between these two because of their...
I've been playing one of my favorite games from my favorite genre, yo. Doom. Okay, but could you leave? I'm trying to do a review.
So as you can tell...
Yo, you doing a review? Let me join in on this shit, yo.
Yes, you can see that Sephiroth Sword 57 is not very happy with the idea of that. But as we'll see later in this video, we'll go to this part. Because this is important to the video.
Moving on.
So this game was created by John Carmack, your typical awkward-looking nerd with bad social skills. And as you can see with this game, not a very good game designer either.
Ah, hell no. You ain't talking smack on my homeboy, Carmack, like that, bitch. See, we're gonna get down Sephiroth Sword 57? You ain't shit to me. Sephiroth Sword 57, Please don't hurt me. So this is the true you. I can't say I'm surprised. Please, Seph-sama, let me help you finish.
I already gave you a chance. Leave now, or you will be sorry. What a nerd.
Okay. Back to the review.
Okay, so let's move on to the end of the video, because this is an important one. Check this out.
Oh, you're back. Yeah, and this time I'm gonna make short work of you, Sephiroth Sword 57. Take this, bitch! Finally took care of that insect. Anyway.
So, that is, he's defeated and he's killed by Sephiroth Sword 57. Now, for those of you who have watched, well, the latest review, you will be wondering, what is going on here? Well, let's get back to the timeline, and we'll see. So, after the Doom review, we get Seph-sama rests after the search for Shadow, while Iga-san takes responsibility for Aria of Sorrow. Now, this later part is it's gonna be important to the story, but what happened is that Iga-san sacrifices himself for his wrongdoings in the past. Very honorable. But it is a very personal one, so you're gonna have. I'm not gonna show it off here, but you can go and watch it in the review. It's very important. Yes. So Seph-sama has been searching for Shadow for a long time, and this here is a video not a lot of Swordlings watched for some reason. And I'm gonna be bringing it back, and we're gonna watch the whole thing. It's only 2 minutes long, but it is important to the timeline, and it is something that that is attached to this review. It happens right before this review starts, so let's take a look. Okay, so here we are. Let's take a look at this one. This video only has 500 views. And only 18 likes. Nobody watched this video. You Sonics need to watch these videos. These are important to the timeline. But let's take a look at this now. This is important. So, someone left a game at Sephiroth Sword 57's door for some reason. And we don't know who still. It has not been explained in the timeline. But it's a bit obvious who it is. And well, you Swordlings have to think about that. After you watch this video, it becomes clear who did it.
Do you think Sephiroth Sword 57 will be okay? He seemed to be pretty exhausted back there. Sephiroth Sword 57, you need to be more careful. You've been searching for Shadow the Hedgehog for 3 months without any sleep or food.
But... Shadow...
Don't worry, Sephiroth Sword 57. Me and Cloud-san will continue the search. You can take your time and rest up for now.
Arigato. Cloud. Chrono.
Don't worry, Cloud-san. With Sephiroth Sword 57's special ability, he will be just fine. Special ability?
This is important.
You mean you didn't know? No. Sephiroth Sword 57 has the ability to restore his energy from reading manga, watching anime, and playing video games, and it's especially effective when he reviews them, exactly like a sensu bean works in Dragon Ball. Wow, that's quite the ability. Indeed, though it's only useful after a fight, since he can't read manga, watch anime, or play video games while fighting.
Konnichiwa, everyone.
So that's the beginning of the review for Aria of Sorrow. And well, that places it in, well, let's go back to the timeline. That's why it's placed here on the timeline, since it is during the search of Shadow. Now, like I said, you need to watch the review to know who the person is who left the game there. It's not very obvious, and you need some proper analytical skills to understand it. But I'm sure most of you Swordlings will be able to figure out who it is from the review itself. They're hinting at someone in it. So let's move on to the next part. So here is, next up, the San Andreas review. That, well, the recent review, the most recent one. Seph-Daddy57 is resurrected, and Seph-sama gets trapped in GTA San Andreas. Now, first off, he was defeated and killed in the Doom review. So how is he back, and how did he get trapped in San Andreas? We don't know yet. They have no idea. But we do know that he, well, from this video, there's some stuff happening in this one that shows that Seph-Daddy57 is back. Let me show you, Swordlings. So here we are at the end of the video. Let's check out this part.
Game and play them makes my skin crawl. The main cast of GTA San Andreas should all be locked up, and the same goes for the people over at Rockstar for making games that turn children into criminals. You thought I was gone forever, didn't you, Sephiroth Sword 57? You! That's right, bitch. It's me, Seph-Daddy57. Thank you for playing this awesome game, by the way. What is this? How did you manage? Come on, Sephiroth Sword 57. Don't you get it? I was trapped in San Andreas for some reason, and I didn't have enough energy to break out of it, yo. So the interference earlier? That's right. It was me, bitch. You playing San Andreas gave me more power, but it still wasn't enough for me to break out of the game. So, I'm going to have to use my new technique. It's time for you to feel what it's like to be imprisoned, Sephiroth Sword 57. Take this, bitch! Mafuba! No. Oh.
Now, for those of you who don't know what the Mafuba is, let me show you. This is a very interesting part that I'm gonna be bringing up. So as you see here, this is the Mafuba technique, which is from Dragon Ball, and it's demonstrated by Muten Roshi himself. Now, his master was the one who created this technique, and what it means is a demon sealing wave, which means that you get to seal other people and creatures into things, containers. And in this case, in San Andreas, we get to see that Seph-sama gets sealed inside of GTA San Andreas. But here's something interesting. How is Seph Daddy able to do this? How is Seph Daddy 57 able to do a technique from Dragon Ball? As we all know, the only one able to do this, to use techniques from manga, anime, and other mediums, is Sephiroth Sword 57. So, well, I'm gonna let you Swordlings think about that. Anyway.
Damn, it's finally nice to be free, yo!
What happens in this video is that it ends with Sephiroth Sword 57 being trapped in GTA San Andreas and Seph Daddy 57 being free. They switch places. And, well, that's it. That's what happens. And I can't say any more because the next important big video will continue this story. So stay tuned for that, my Swordlings. Anyway, back to the timeline. After the San Andreas video, what happens then? Well, it's the end of the 5-year search for Shadow saga. And it ends with the Breath of the Wild review. They found the location of Shadow and Nintendo. Seph-sama lost the battle and gets stabbed by a Shadow clone. Now, you all watched this video, so you know. What is going on here is that, well, Sephiroth Sword 57 is forced to play the worst game yet. And he has to review it so that Nintendo releases Shadow from his brainwashing. So, let's take a look at some moments from this video, shall we? Let's start from right here. So 5 years later.
Shadow.
Sephiroth Sword 57. We picked up a menacing spirit presence nearby.
Could it be Shadow?
Could be.
Alright, team, let's roll out.
Hold on a second, Sephiroth Sword 57.
Oh, that's right. So there's a funny little bit right here. But you Swordlings can watch that later. It's a really funny Mansai bit that you Swordlings can watch. So after that, though, they go to this area where the presence was.
Are you sure this is the place where you sensed the evil spirit presence, Chrono?
Positive.
Okay. Shadow?
It's been a long time. Sephiroth Sword 57.
Nintendo's back.
Nintendo.
I've decided to let Shadow go on one simple condition.
What have you got up your sleeves this time then, Nintendo?
Your insult won't work on me, but do you want to free Shadow or not?
Damn you, Nintendo. You foul beast. I'll do it.
Here, take this game and review it in this episode. If you can make it, that is.
Anything for Shadow.
Remember, if you fail to review the game, you will never see your friend again.
Challenge accepted.
So yes, it is The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, which is in the title. And after he successfully reviews the game, we are then taken back to right here. Check this out.
I've done what you said, Nintendo. Now, take this. I didn't expect you to put up a reflect spell before I entered the room, Nintendo.
You have reviewed yet another Nintendo game, and the worst one yet at that. The Nintendo subjects only grew stronger when someone reacts negatively on their favorite games from their master.
This is really important information about the world about in Sephiroth Sword 57 and how reviews work. So listen to this carefully. So
energy is called subjective force, the opposite to the objective force that you possess as a reviewer. The subjective force is the meaningless opinion of non-objective gamers. Their minds are clouded by such things as nostalgia and amiibos, making it the perfect force of evil. The subjective force have made me stronger thanks to your objective reviews, and now I gain the power to travel between time and dimensions. I was never able to defeat you in this dimension, Sephiroth Sword 57, but now I can leave and access millions of other dimensions. These other dimensions are similar to this dimension, but they're not identical. By accessing these dimensions, I can grind for XP much quicker than you. Next time you see me, I will be many levels above you, and I'll be able to one-hit kill you. By the way, I will keep my promise.
here it is.
Yes, Master.
Shadow.
You are no longer needed. What? I will release you, but in another dimension.
No, Shadow.
Goodbye for now, Sephiroth Sword 57.
And that's what happened. Shadow got released in another dimension, and we don't know what happened to him.
Damn you, Nintendo!
Nanye koredatte bayo?
Sephiroth Sword 57, a new portal is open.
What is this?
You are me, and I am you. From the future dimension.
And that's it. Sephiroth Sword 57 gets killed by a clone of Shadow, which we don't know. We don't know what that is about. We still don't. Same with who that person showed up. Now, a lot of you already know, and that's why we're going back to the timeline again. And for the last one, the last video on the timeline is Sephiroth Sword 57 Gaiden, which is the ultimate continuation of the Sephiroth Sword 57 timeline. Now, as you all know, there is no episode 2, and there hasn't been for a few years. But, I've already explained it many times. The Sephiroth Sword 57 Gaiden show is something that I really want to put time, effort, and hopefully money into, to make it into the ultimate Sephiroth Sword 57 project. I have a lot of good ideas for this one, and it's gonna be amazing. But I don't want it to become some random internet video. I want this to be good. So this is what's happening. Now that you know that, so what happens in this video? What happens in this one? Well, like you saw, they found Shadow. Shadow was put in a different dimension, and they don't know where he is anymore. And Sephiroth Sword 57 lost the battle and was stabbed by a Shadow clone. And the guy that shows up at the end of the video, that is who you see in this timeline, Aniki. Now, we don't know much about Aniki at all, other than he has been the guardian of Kensuke. This, who is a different persona of Sephiroth Sword 57. So, what's going on? Well, we don't know. You Swordlings don't know. I know. But I can't spoil that. That will be in the future of Gaiden. And also, what happened to Sephiroth Sword 57? Did he die? Well, I can't say that either. They will be explained in Gaiden in the future. So, that is the end of the timeline as it is right now. But there's a lot of things going on that I haven't explained, and I will be teasing. For example, there are a lot of videos. Like here, there will be videos in between these. Somewhere, as you know, this is the 5-year search for Shadow, so a lot of things can happen here. These are 5 years, all the way up to this one. We don't know. We don't know what could happen. But there's more up here as well. For example, after the timeline split, I'm not gonna go into it too much, but maybe something happened here. And of course, at the top of the timeline, there's still a lot that to be discovered. For example, the video of Shadow and Chronos introduction, they have not been released yet. So that is something to look forward to. That is something that's gonna happen, and you Swordlings will have to wait to discover that. Now, some of this stuff here you can absolutely figure out some things on your own. Maybe you Swordlings have some theories of your own what's going on in the timeline. And, well, if you know, go to the Sephiroth Sword 57 Discord server or the Sephiroth Sword 57 subreddit, and you can post your theories there. I'm sure a lot of Swordlings will find enjoyment in reading those. But that is all I wanted to talk about here. I revealed a lot about the timeline. I went over it very thoroughly. And after this, there shouldn't be any question marks from you Swordlings, other than the stuff that hasn't been revealed yet, obviously. There's still a lot of stuff that I can't reveal. That is for future videos. But when it comes to stuff that happens in between videos and that stuff that was already been revealed, there should not be any more questions around those. Anyway, that will be it for this video. And wow, this took a while. But anyway, arigato for watching the video, and have a good night, evening, morning, or day. And I'll see you soon. See ya!